Hi, and welcome to this new edition of The Buzz. My name is Shawn Reilly, and I'm proud to be your host of everything that's going on in Green Wave sports here at Abington High School. We like to talk about what's happening in the hockey rinks and the basketball courts, volleyball courts, and then out there in the playing fields when the weather's even nicer. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about hockey to begin with. We're going to review the season, and I'm pleased to bring back one of our most favorite guests. It's Coach Bryan Woodford. Coach Woodford, welcome back to The Buzz. Always a pleasure to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you, Shawn, for having me. Always a pleasure to come. What you and Abington Cam here do is great. I'm a big fan, and don't miss an episode.
Oh, boy, you're so courteous. Yeah. Coach, you had an exciting hockey season. We're getting close to the end of it now as we're taping this show. Your team's about 500, which is kind of par for the course for the Green Wave sports teams right now with basketball teams and hockey teams. But nevertheless, an exciting, good, productive year of Green Wave hockey. You've got to be happy with some of the performances you saw out there on the ice.
Yes, very happy. Early on we dealt with a lot of injury, and throughout the season had a ton of adversity to get through. So I'm very proud of the way the team has handled that. Despite our record being 9-10, the morale and team camaraderie is as if we're undefeated. So it's things are very good. I couldn't be more proud of how it's gone. Obviously we want more wins, but it's not all about that. We're in a position where I feel we can make a real state title run if we put all the things we've been practicing and preaching and talking about and mentalizing together. We can make a real run with the squad that we have.
Well, you've got three good seniors who have turned out to be real good leaders. I mean, I think we expected it from them, but they've really, I think, shown their mettle. And you've got Jake Quinn, who was a previous guest on the show, and Spencer Merrick, who not only was a guest but was a camera person, and Aiden Powers, who is another multi-sport athlete for the Green Wave. Talk a little bit about some of these seniors, these captains, these leaders for the Green Wave hockey team.
That is impressive. I didn't know Spencer can, video as well.
He does it all.
Yeah. No, it's been crucial, and I knew when these three kind of came in, the whole goal was to, by the time they were seniors, be ready to lead. And it took some of them longer than others, and even well into this year to fit into their role as leaders. But we've got Spencer, who's our captain, the leader of our team. He's been just a consummate professional, and as young as he is, the way he carries himself and trains and prepares and shows up is top notch.
Yeah.
And then we named Jake Quinn as the assistant captain, who is the leader of our offense. As he talked to the Buzz last week, the amount of production from our offense has doubled. His stats have doubled, but the whole offense itself, with the amount of goals we've scored this year, has doubled from last year. So the leader of the offense, and as he goes, we go from a production standpoint. And then I've named Aiden Powers the assistant captain. He's in charge of the defense. And my philosophy this year was similar to what the Bruins have done with activating their defensemen and getting their defensemen up into the play and not just protecting the house, because we've got Spence back there. And I knew that this year we can get our defense more into that offensive production, so that we can score more, and they have done tremendous. I mean, I think the amount of goals our defensemen as a whole unit have scored this year is maybe quadrupled, and the amount of point production and the plus minus, and all of that comes with the physicality of having to make sure you protect your zone and cover out in front of your net and do all the nitty-gritty things that defensemen have to do. So I've been, tremendous amount of leadership this year from start to finish. They've battled through the adversity with the team and even their own sake of becoming a leader, and have come out on top so far. And then we do have a fourth senior who, as much as he is not a leader of the team, him just coming out for the team has helped the team probably more than just as much as the others, because last year we practiced with only one goalie. And Jack Houghton Jr. Stepped in this year, has never played goaltender in any capacity, but was willing to strap the pads on and take these shots that come at you. It's a hard piece of rubber, and those shots can be fired at you pretty quick. That having two goalies in practice has allowed the team to develop from start of the season to now in many different areas, because every drill we do, now they're shooting on two goalies. Shooting on an empty net gets a little mundane,
right,
by the time you get to February, and the amount of shots that you take in practice or a season. So his contributions to this team, not necessarily during a game, but during practice, have been immense and just helped us develop. So great for seniors that I couldn't be more proud to celebrate in our senior game tomorrow night.
It's got to be great, speaking of Jack Houghton again, as that second goalie, just for your players, for your forwards, to not always be shooting on the same goalie, to see a different body size, a different guy who moves differently in the net, so they're kind of a little bit better prepared for the next team, who's obviously going to have a different goalie.
Right.
But back to what you were saying, having an all-star goalie, Spencer Merrick, back between the pipes, let your defense play more offense. Take some extra risks when you can, and I'm sure they like to get involved in the offensive side of it.
Right.
But offensively, let's talk about some of the juniors. I mean, they've really chipped in.
Yeah.
Evan St. Martin had a great year.
Yep.
Going to have another great senior year.
Yep.
And Zach Buchagros, Hunter Grafton. I mean, let's go down the list. You got to be really looking forward to next year. I don't want to throw away this year yet.
Of course, yeah.
But I always love looking watching these young guys gel.
Yeah.
I think you got to be really excited about it.
Oh, extreme. I mean, not just next year, just all of my, the future of the program just looking great. We've got, with the help of my players over the past 4 years, this is now my fourth full season. The culture we have going on and the team camaraderie in the locker room and our values and our accountability has all gotten to a point where the future is very bright. When I say our offense has doubled, I've had the luxury of my first line unit has now played together for 2 consecutive years.
Right.
At some point, as when we're in a rut during the season, as a coaching staff, we look to say, okay, do we break this line up and to make 2 more even lines, And after thinking long and hard about it, I said that you boys have been playing together for 2 years. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. So let's make a run. Let's go for it. You guys have worked together. I'm not going to break you up now. You've given everything to each other, and their productivity has been top notch with the amount of points that they have scored. They're all probably, we don't, unlike basketball that I do see a league leader, there is kind of no running tally as to league, but I can imagine that all 3 of them are in the top 10 scoring within the league with the amount of points that they've put up.
And there's got to be a lot of benefit, too, when you are playing on the same line with the same guys for so long. When you're in the corner trying to dig the puck out, you know exactly where your guy is. You just get that third sense because you played so well. You know he's going to be right out front, or he's cutting, or he's got my back. Got to be a great thing that they can rely on without any coaching. Without you guys even yelling to them, they're already thinking ahead, playing off each other. And talking to coaching, got a pretty good thing going on that side of the boards, too, with a couple of great assistant coaches working under you.
Right. Ed O'Neill is a Abington alumni.
Yep.
And he has been tremendous. He's a sense of calm, and he's seen a lot, and just he's been around the rinks forever, and his ability to keep me calm. I get as calm as I seem off the ice. Once I get on the bench, the fire comes out, and he, whether it's me just demanding more of my players or demanding more of the referees, he keeps me level-headed. And then we have Nick Malafronte, who is tremendous. He's in the corner. He's taking all mental notes. He keeps live stats during the game, which is unique. And he has a great software that gets live up to the minute information that we use in between periods to just gauge where we are. But his just finger on the pulse of everything. Yeah. We couldn't do what we do without him. We have Shane Murray, who is a first-year volunteer. He has been great. He's younger, so he's more in tune with the players, and he's my ear with the players and keeping on them and knowing when he's needed, how he's needed. He's been tremendous at learning the role and figuring out what he needs to do to help the team. And then lastly, we added a goaltender coach this year, Jack Houghton Sr., his son, who was that backup goalie I mentioned. Him and the bond that they have, just him being able to coach his son for 1 year, just be on the ice, and what he's brought to the team just from an energy and willing to step in and help the team in any way without looking for anything in return has been special. So we appreciate his help on the staff this year too, and then of course our trainers are very busy.
Yeah.
Miss Reed is tremendous, and she, it always puts it's tough when you're a coach. You want players to be out there.
Right.
You want your best players, but she puts really the players, health and safety first, which is something in the moment, it gets lost, but in the grand scheme of life, you really appreciate that, and somebody to be hands-on and really care.
I think the players respect that and admire that too.
They do.
When Miss Reed says you're going to sit out for a while, they might push initially, but they're like, you're right. You're right. I want them to go long term.
And Mrs. Reed, if you can go, and she'll let you. She let our captain get out there after he got a tooth knocked out in the middle of a game.
Well, who needs a tooth for hockey?
And that's it. And she knew that it was, as much as it seems drastic and dramatic that your tooth, she understands that's not an injury that prevents you from playing. It may cause some pain, so she's in it to win too.
Right.
Because it was a close game. And
but if it's a knee injury or head injury, something like that,
100%.
She's going to make sure that
right.
You're ready for the next game, or you can recover as soon as you can, and that's always important. And kudos to you coaches too for also kind of backing her up, backing our athletic trainers up, and because it's teamwork.
Right.
And you had Buchagras was out for the beginning of the season, right?
Yep.
And eventually he worked hard to get back into the fold, and he's been a great benefit to the team. You guys just came off a huge overtime win against Ashland.
Yes.
Talk a little about that. That was a fun finish.
That was, and we knew where we stood in the standings, that, we wanted to be, and we still want, and it's not locked in yet, we want to be the first team in Abington High history to host a home playoff game.
Yeah.
No Abington High team has ever once come down from that upper deck, walking through their crowd at the Rockland Rink for a home playoff game, and we have the possibility of being the first. So that's been one of our goals. Our goal is to win a state title, but one of our goals is to get qualified, have a home game, pull the crowd together, give the crowd a show, give them what they deserve, play with pride, all of that. So we're one game away from making that goal happen, and last night we knew was crucial. It's a team that is above us in the rankings. It's a team that we lost to 3-1 before, and Spencer stole the show.
As your goalie,
as his goalie, we were outshot, and when you're outshot and come out with a win, that's when your goalie really steals the game for you.
Yeah.
We had a big-time goal scorer come up, in OT. Our power play, Buchagras got a great power play goal. After we came out slow, and I was hard on everybody. And there's two ways you react to that. You either come out, go stronger, or you fold. And they came out and played stronger, played harder, and so I was extremely proud of that win last night. First overtime game that we've had as a team.
Yeah.
So it was a tremendous, and I saw that. One thing that's very special is that Mad Dog Matt Nelson always shouts out Spencer's grandmother watching on live.
That's right.
And last night she was there, able to be there in person. And immediately after the game, he just went up, and the whole Merrick fan section, was going wild. So I made sure I sent Mad Dog that picture. He wasn't there.
That's great, and it's a great way to catapult the team into the postseason. Right. We'll wait and see how the MIA organizes everything in the very near future. And if you do get to go to a playoff game for Abington at Abington, it's actually played at the Rockland Rink. It's the rink that's on Summer Street. Right. And if you want to check the upcoming playoff information, obviously you can look at Twitter or read the newspapers, but you can also go to www.arbiterlive.com, ARBITER live.com. It has all of the schedules for all of the teams for basically all of the high schools in Massachusetts. So you just click on Abington, scroll down to hockey, and pick it up. And I also want to shout out to some of the female members of your hockey program left you this year and joined the female team over in Rockland. And Abington and Rockland are kind of a mix, so we wish them well. I know they're doing well.
Right.
We're real happy that they were able to kind of come up through the ranks for Abington. And speaking of people coming up through the ranks, you are a big proponent of your summertime street hockey league. A lot of kids are thrilled by this. This is for the younger kids, ages 5 to 13, right? And we're going to do it again this year, I hear.
Oh, we're going to do it again every year.
Great.
No, it's tremendous. I remember as a kid growing up, before I had the luxury of moving to Abington, and one of the greatest things that happened in my life was coming to this town. But before, I grew up in Dorchester, and we would be up at the tennis courts all the time just playing street hockey.
Yeah.
There was no big fancy hockey rink. It was just courts. And that's where some of the best hockey was played, and it was great games, and it was great environment. I remember it was so fun. So right now we're currently playing at the 2 basketball courts in front of the police station.
Yep.
And as much as they're not fit for hockey because there's grass inside and benches and different things inside, it's worked very well. It's created a very positive environment on Wednesday nights during the summer. The parking lot, if you haven't driven by, is just filled.
Yeah.
We've had food trucks down there. There's kids running around. There's icy pops. There's grandmothers on beach
folding chairs,
folding chairs,
exactly.
watching in with their coolers of cold water and all of those good things. And it's a very competitive, fun. We play for a Stanley Cup. Not everybody gets a trophy,
Yeah.
Only that one team who grinds it out all summer gets to raise that cup.
Excellent.
And it's special. The kids enjoy it. They love it. I mean, all the parents love it. And it's some pretty good hockey.
For a guy myself who cannot skate a lick,
Yeah.
I did play street hockey as a kid and loved it. And so for all of these kids who are going to be between the ages of 5 and 13 this coming summer,
Right.
how do they get in touch? How do they sign up? How do they get information about the street hockey league?
So sign up. Me and my partner, John Waters, Abington resident, run it together. And he's created this very user-friendly, awesome website, abingtonstreethockey.com.
Easy enough.
Yep. So abingtonstreethockey.com, and we're going to open up registration sooner this year so we can get the jerseys and everything kind of mapped out. So look to have registrations opened up around the end of March, and then the season usually begins around the end of July and runs through October. One night a week down the police courts.
And players need sneakers,
Yeah.
a helmet, and a street hockey stick.
Sneakers, helmet, street hockey stick. We recommend gloves.
Yeah.
We recommend shin pads. We recommend, more extensive padding just for your safety, but the most certainly helmets are required,
Yeah.
gloves, keeping you safe. And it's better. You play with more confidence when you have proper padding on, and you're in a better situation to enjoy it if you fall and, take a stick off. It's never... Even those little street hockey balls, you get a stinger.
Right.
You get a stinger. It's but that's
no,
part of it.
No experience required.
No experience required.
great
We
way to
encourage.
learn. Yeah.
We encourage. And I'm in the rinks all between my 2 daughters figure skate. My son plays hockey. I'm in the rinks and I'm seeing them come in.
Right.
So they're getting the love of the game, which is how it's always. It's for you. All of us has happened. It doesn't always translate into becoming an ice hockey player, but it is.
Yeah.
And that's our goal, is to grow the sport in the town and to give more opportunities to fall in love with the game. And the street hockey's doing it. And I'm seeing people coming in to learn to play.
That's great. I mean, and that just builds more of the future of green wave hockey, which is what we're all about here at the Buzz. But it's guys like you who have the enthusiasm and that just magnetic personality that kind of brings those players there and keeps them there. So I want to wish you, best of luck moving into the playoffs and the postseason. I want to thank you for all of your efforts, both during the summer, getting the young kids ready, but especially during the season with what you and your staff do for the green wave hockey players. It's really a thrill to watch those guys, and I'm sure that every single guy who plays for you is going to have a lot of great memories for a lifetime, playing on a real fun team and a real great sport, that being green wave hockey. So thank you, Coach, for stopping by the Buzz, and maybe we'll check in with you now again in a couple more weeks from now and see where the playoffs took you.
And I appreciate those kind words, and it's part of my motivation is that there are a lot of good programs, as within Abington sports, and there's a lot of pedigree and tradition, and my goal is to make sure that hockey is in on that, and the culture that the football team and basketball and baseball and girls sports have all created, just to make sure that hockey is aligned with those values, those town values and team values. So I get a lot of my motivation from the coaches I've watched as I've grown up in town, not just even the coaches I've played for and seen in Abington hockey before, but the coaches in other sports that I didn't even play that, I appreciate what they've done for the sports in this town, and it's motivating.
Well, it's working. It's certainly working, and it's doing a great thing. And so we're going to take a break. We're going to let the coach excuse himself. We're going to bring in a familiar face. If you walk the halls here at Abington High School, or even if you go, in the bleachers at some of the basketball games, hockey games, you'll know this guy's face. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm looking forward to talking to him. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with, well, you'll have to wait and see.
Hi, my name is Jameson Gagnon, and I'm a Youth Heart Ambassador for the American Heart Association. And this is my dog, Guinness. He's an ambassador too. Today I'm going to talk to you about hands-only CPR. It can save a life. There are 2 simple steps to hands-only CPR. If you see someone collapse into cardiac arrest, you want to act fast. Call 911. That is the first step. Step 2 is to push hard and fast in the center of the chest. You at least want to do 100 to 120 compressions per minute in the center of the chest. Where's your center of the chest, Guinness? Did you know that nationwide 350,000 people suffer from cardiac arrest a year outside of the hospital, and only 10% survive? Guys, we can do better. That's why it's so important for you guys to learn hands-only CPR. Any CPR is better than no CPR. Listen to this song, guys. You should be doing compressions as fast as this beat is. Jameson out.
All right, welcome back to the second half of The Buzz, trying to give you everything that's going on in Green Wave sports. Before we move on to our special second half and our second half guest, I wanted to congratulate Abington Cam and some of the volunteers and the employees here. Recently, the Mass Creator Awards were granted at a special annual ceremony that the Mass Access, basically a cable TV statewide group puts together, and they give out awards for local cable TV coverage for different groups, for different categories, I should say. And so for the event category, the #1 covered event, Best Production of the Year, was won. That trophy was won by Abington Cam, and we have the actual trophy right here in front of us. I want to congratulate. This was given to us because of our coverage of the Abington-Rockland Super Bowl game, the football game at Gillette Stadium. And part of that crew was Matt Nelson, Matt Lyons, Mike Simmons, Kevin Tachi, Kevin Whalen, and myself. We had a lot of fun covering it. It was a very exciting game. Unfortunately, we had a lot of great games where we won. That one we didn't win. But the coverage, the instant replays, the camera work, not so much the commentary, but it was a very fun game to be at, and even more fun to cover that for you and bring it to your living rooms at home. So congratulations to Abington Cam and everyone involved in that game, and everyone that steps up and gets involved in other games. And speaking of people who get involved in covering other games, that's going to be the subject of our second half guest. I want to welcome aboard Dr. James Madden from Abington High School. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very happy to be on here. The Buzz, I've seen so many episodes, so many great athletes here at Abington High School as members of the show, and I'm honored to be here.
Well, we've been excited to get you here because you are just an encyclopedia of information, especially about college basketball, high school basketball. I know you do some commentary for Abington High School basketball. You've also done some work at the hockey games. You're a baseball player yourself. So let's get right into it. The basketball, we just had a fantastic finish last night, a really exciting game. You have been watching this team develop through the years. A lot of great play, a lot of great players, great teamwork. What do you see as, what'd you take out of this season, how they put it all together?
So a year where they graduated a lot of seniors like last year. I think they had 7 seniors, all of which were crucial parts of the rotation. There's a lot of question marks when you enter the season, but I think a lot of the young players, including the 2 freshmen we saw light it up last night, Kingston Maxwell and Tyler Stady, they've stepped into a big role, and I said it on the broadcasts previously, but they play with so much poise, you can't tell if they're freshmen. Tyler Stady in particular, he had 27 points last night, 30 last week. So it seems like he doesn't miss from anywhere on the floor, and Connor Pease, still only a junior, has been a big part of not only the basketball team but the football team, and is going to be important next season for both squads. And I'm just looking forward to the future at Abington High School basketball. And they have some solid seniors as well. Hunter Maxwell, I think he's just a glue guy for the Green Wave, does it all. And Zuzu Hajar, like we've said, won't score the most points, but does everything else that helps you contribute to winning. And I'm looking forward to the next few years of Abington High School basketball and Abington High School sports, where these young athletes can continue to shine.
I agree with you. I mean, I am so impressed with this team, because when you lose basically a state championship level team to graduation, and you've got some holes to fill, and going into the season, you knew you were going to need freshmen and sophomore to step up, and they did more than step up. I mean, Tyler Stady has literally, I think, shocked some opponents. They see he's a freshman. He's the first guy announced at the start of the game, whatever, and the freshman, we'll put our weakest guy on him. Biggest mistake they can make, because if he's open, he's draining threes, right? And then Kingston Maxwell is making fools out of people that are trying to defend him. I mean, he's going to be exciting to watch coming up next year. And I was talking to the guys from the opposing team last night who was sitting near me. I said, I still think Connor Pease is one of the best, if not the best, big men in southeastern Massachusetts. I mean, I'm sure there's guys in Duxbury and Marshfield, but for a guy who's a junior, and he's not 6'8", he doesn't have abnormal height or anything. He's just a good quality basketball player that just has incredible hands and talent underneath the hoop.
Yeah, and something I think is underrated for big men is both their footwork and their touch around the rim, and Connor Pease is both of those, as well as the ability to shoot free throws. This player that he reminds me of when he's at the free throw line is Joel Embiid, because, as you know, watching basketball, big men get fouled so much, and if they can't knock down free throws like Shaquille O'Neal couldn't back in his day, they're just a liability out there. But Pease, he's knocked down free throws very well. He has terrific footwork around the rim, and it just opens up the floor for everyone else once you have a force to be reckoned with down low. Yeah,
and he's a poker face when he's out there. I mean, last night, he was on the ground going after the ball. He's getting he blocks shots and everything, and doesn't show the emotion. And I think that buys him a little bit of the extra. The referees kind of look at him as, this kid isn't a complainer. He's not a showboat. He just plays the game really well. And I think that kind of helps him get the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you what, referees the one thing they hate the most is someone who's going to complain about every call. And Connor Pease, like you said, is just no emotion, but that's for the best. But, if you talk to Connor Pease out off the court, you know how much both the football team and the basketball team means to him. Sometimes it doesn't seem that way just because he likes to play with a little bit of his swagger is being quiet and letting us play do the talking for himself. So I think that's the most important part for Connor Pease and why he's been so successful.
So true, and they got a great group of seniors this year. Zuzu, you mentioned. For a guard, it's amazing how many rebounds he gets. He just has a way of sneaking in there, and the kid is one of the quickest kids on the court, if not quickest kids in the league. Really always a Charlie Hustle kind of a lot. Whether he's coming off the bench or starting, he's a threat. Which is great, and he also kind of keeps his teammates' tempo up. You got to keep pushing it. And we've had some great guys. Andrew and Darren coming off the bench and stuff, and Joe Venuti. They've been fantastic. It's just knowing their role. I'm very impressed at how well coached this team is. They have a lot of great set plays, whether it's the alley-oop to Connor Frazier or a double pick to get Tyler open. They really kind of bought into it. You can see the second half of the season, it all started to come together, and they became a force that you had to have your A game to beat Abington.
Yeah, and I think Abington's built a reputation in the South Shore League as the top dog. Everyone, the past few years has circled the Abington game because of the type of culture and type of program Coach Serino's built here. Yeah. And I think that we're very fortunate to be a part of, I'm very fortunate to go to high school with so many great athletes and so many great basketball teams. And it just makes, when your athletic teams and athletic programs are very competitive and very good, it just makes it a lot more fun to be a high school student and to go to the games, and it just makes the high school experience so much better.
Well, it contributes to your social life, right? I mean, there's always a game to watch on Friday night, whether it's the girls' game or the boys' game, or if you're going to go to an away game. Hockey games are always pretty loud, and everyone's proud there. It is just a way to kind of not only bind the community, the classmates together, but the community as a whole. I mean, you know from being at the basketball games, there's young and old in the stands there, and there's a certain group of people, some of the older alumni and older residents that sit in the same seat every time, don't want to mess up the mojo, but they're there every game as diehard fans of the Green Wave. We got to appreciate that.
Yeah, they're always up there with me and Matt Nelson when we're doing the call, and I'll tell you what, they're as big a Green Wave fans as there are.
Oh, yeah.
They've been out of high school for 50, 60 years, but they're still showing their Green Wave pride. They're still supporting, the youngsters, the bunch of high school kids now. So, I mean, all the energy, young to old, whatever it is, there's just so much energy in Abington Green Wave sports, and there always has been, and it's just makes it so much more fun for the players and myself when I'm calling the games. It's just, it's a lot better to call a game when it's a packed gym than when no one's there.
Yeah, like I always tell people, there's nothing worse than a quiet gym. You want to have the noise, you want to have the music, you want to have the crowd, and the team gets into it too, and I think it really does help, and the team notices it and they appreciate it. I mentioned when I introduced you that you were the encyclopedia, especially of basketball, and I say that because you are well known, especially to your friends and your classmates, and to anyone who's on Instagram or even Twitter who is kind of like follows college basketball and high school basketball. You've got quite a following going on there. Talk to me about how you've built this up.
So something I've always been, passionate about has been sports, in particular college basketball. It's been like my thing, and hopefully one day I can make a career out of covering sports, announcing sports, whatever it may be. But I've been, I've had an Instagram account covering college basketball for I believe 4.5 years now, so it's been a while. And I've been fortunate enough to grow. My following's grown pretty significantly, where, guys from all over the country, even the world. I know a player from Denmark, another player from Sweden. So players all around the world and around the country just reaching out to me, talking about, who's offering them, when they're visiting schools, where they're committing, whatever it may be. And it's just, I'm very fortunate enough because I've met so many great people along the way, and hopefully we'll meet many more. So it's just been something I'm grateful for, to have such a following and cover college basketball, just cover basketball as a whole, which is something a lot of people love to do, including myself. So I'm just very grateful to have met so many great people and hopefully continue to meet great people along the way.
Literally, you have thousands of followers on your Instagram account, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You just built up that reputation where it's kind of, you're the go-to guy to get some behind-the-scenes information or some early information. What is your Instagram account?
So it's titled NCAAB Top 25 on Instagram, and obviously it's a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds who are getting new to this whole college thing. They're getting ready, and nothing beats, having a news outlet post about you and seeing your name, so-and-so has offered you. So it just gives the kids an opportunity to see their name and see their name on Twitter, Instagram, and for their family, because I'm sure parents very proud of how accomplished their young sons have been in the high school basketball world and as they get ready to go to college. And there's a bunch of kids who have, gone to college and still reach out to me about, if they pick up an injury. Like a good friend of mine, Rodney Rice, he plays at Virginia Tech, sidelined with an injury. He texted me right away saying, hey, put this out on Twitter for me, let everyone know. And he's redshirting his freshman year now. So, it's been so great to just know a bunch of these young kids, so many terrific kids, so many terrific basketball players, as well as there's certainly some high school coaches will message me about their AAU programs, who's getting offered and whatever that may be. So it's just, I'm grateful to have met so many great people, met so many connections, and hopefully that'll help me down the road and I can continue to try and make this a career for myself.
I have no doubt you will. Just knowing you now, what are you, a junior in high school?
Junior, yes.
And I've known you now for a few years. I know your mom and dad, and it's very impressive. And who's your most famous follower on Instagram?
My most famous follower. So probably my most famous interaction would have been with Bronny James, LeBron's younger son. He viewed my story, DM'd me because I posted about one of his teammates, but he doesn't follow me, so I'm not that much of a celebrity just yet. So right now I'd have to say Grant Hill, former NBA player, played with Duke, now announcing on TNT for the NBA, also played for the Detroit Pistons, Orlando Magic. So he runs an AAU program out of Florida, so I posted about a bunch of his kids that played there. Then they reposted it, and he must have saw my account. And when I remember, I was still really small. I only had like 1,800 followers, and Grant Hill followed me. I was down the Cape with all my cousins. I looked at my phone, this can't be real. I clicked on Grant Hill's profile, 400,000 followers, like this is the real Grant Hill. So that still has been one of the coolest moments in my Instagram world, in my Instagram career. So it's just, probably Grant Hill.
Well, you've earned it. I'm sure the amount of time you put in behind the scenes before you post that message might take you a minute and a half to post it, but all the lead time leading up to it, I'm sure you get your schoolwork done.
I try.
First and foremost, whatever. You get this budding career and you're making a name for yourself already. And you also, right here on Abington Cam, have your own show, the Madden Report, right?
Yeah, the Madden Report. That's a lot of fun. We cover, we try and cover all sports at all levels. We've done, I think our biggest show was our first episode was the first round of March Madness last season, and I don't think not much beats March Madness, not only in basketball but in the sports world. So, the Madden Report is such a fun show, and I'm my uncle, Coach Madden, my co-host. So, keeping it in the family, but it's just a lot of fun to be on the set here at Abington Cam and produce our show, the Madden Report.
Well, I got to tell you, when I was trying to put together my NCAA bracket last year, I turned on your show and was listening to what your recommendations were, and I recommend that highly to anybody who wants to fill out an NCAA bracket. Listen to what James might have to say, because he just, we talked to Jake Quinn was here at one of our earlier editions of The Buzz, and Jake plays hockey, and we were kidding about how when they see you in the hallways here at Abington High School, they'll throw out a name of someone in college or someone in pro sports, and you can name where they played and something about their biography, which is impressive for you to remember all that stuff. And it's just something you've enjoyed. Is basketball the #1 sport in your world right now?
I'd say so, just because of how big of a following I've made it. It's just probably my best outlet, because I love baseball. Baseball is definitely #2 for me. And I probably like playing baseball better, but I just think covering the college basketball side of it is, I think, more fun than the NBA, because I've always found getting to know high school kids a lot better than trying to cover millionaires that don't know who I am, because I think using high schoolers, kids that are my age, kids that are very grateful for me just posting one little write-up about them that they got offered from a small school. It's just, I think that's a lot more fun than covering anything else, because it's a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds that are just like me, and I know what how I would feel if I was being posted on Instagram about an offer. So I just think covering a bunch of teenage kids trying to do the most with their basketball career is just something I found very cool, and something I hopefully can continue in the coming years.
It is amazing when you think about it. These 16 and 17-year-olds that you're covering, a year from now, 2 years from now, they're playing in front of 30,000, 40,000 people, right? I mean, they're going from a high school gym into college basketball, the big time. And I agree with you. I mean, college sports, college basketball, college football, pros are great. But college is something else unique about it. Maybe it's that the average fan age in that auditorium or that stadium is all, pretty much a lot of college kids. It's electric to be part of it, and it's great that you're involved with it so deeply. I mean, do you have any plans as to where you might be going to college? I know you're a junior only right now.
I've started really getting into it this winter, just because, the college process sneaks up on you real quick, and I'm scheduled my first college tour. It's 2 days from now on Thursday. We're flying out to the University of Kansas. That's my top school. As of right now, the William White School of Journalism is really where I want to pursue my career. And they've had so many prestigious alumni. Kevin Harlan, off the top of my head, is the most prestigious now. One of the best announcers in the business with TNT. So University of Kansas is probably my top school, but I'm always, you can't rely on one school. So there's just going to be a ton of different schools. I'm really a type of kid, I've really always wanted to go to a big school, a Division I school, because I think the bigger the school, the more opportunities there are and the more connections you can meet. So I think, definitely the University of Kansas and other big schools, with prestigious journalism programs. And I'm looking forward to, going to college, meeting new people, meeting new connections, and hopefully expanding my horizon, not only in college basketball, but just all sports.
Well, I think you're setting a great foundation for yourself, because you're right, it's the connections, the people you meet, and whether you start off as the water boy or whatever, you're going to meet people, and it's going to expand. And right here at Abington Cam with your first show, with the Madden connection, and then doing the play-by-play at Abington High School. I mean, who knows? Someday, 10 years from now, they're going to show clips of you at Abington High School on ESPN saying, this is what he was like 10 years ago, right? I mean, that's where you want to be. Some year we're going to maybe see, they call him the doctor, Dr. Madden, on TV in the big time. I mean, you certainly have the desire and the work ethic, so I appreciate that and congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
I'm a loyal follower of you also. Let me shift gears with you for a second. You mentioned that baseball is one of your favorite sports to play. So, we're taping this now in the middle of February, so we're a couple months away from baseball. But Abington baseball, Abington softball, going to look like 2 very promising years coming up. Softball, they lost one graduating senior last year, and they did very, very well last year. So they have nothing but, league champion, state championship in their eyes this coming year. And baseball also had a huge year last year. You guys are coming back. You lost some kids to graduation, but you got a pretty good pitching rotation, a solid catcher. Let's talk about some of the guys you anticipate you'll be playing with. So who's on the mound coming up this year?
So our top 2 pitchers will probably be John Sellen and my brother, Steven. And I just think our baseball team, we've been fortunate to have some very good players. And Coach Praxis will tell you, good teams can't win without good players. And we've had so many great players. Last year, in particular, some of our seniors were just terrific. I mean, we all know what Aiden O'Donnell did for us last season, Ryan Tobin, Eddie Riley. So, we were just fortunate to have so many great captains, so many great seniors last year that I think they've helped us build for the future, because like you said, we're a young team. We only have one senior, but he's a very important senior, Spencer Merrick. I mean, ask anyone on the team, they'll tell you his importance, not only to our team, but to the hockey team, just his importance to everybody. He's just a great teammate, a great player, and not much you can ask for out of him, because he'll give it his 100% each and every day for us. And I think the important thing is that we just have each other's backs, because we've always prided ourselves on being a really tight-knit team. I think, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but I think we have one of the better connections. Even last year, our locker room was very connected. I'm sure you walk into a locker room, there's some kids who don't like each other, because that's just human life. But our team, everyone got along, which I think just makes you a much better team, because everyone just feels comfortable going out there, and they're going to make a mistake, someone's going to pick them up. And we made a deep run last year. It was a heartbreaker up in Lynn. I mean, I remember every single kid on the team bawling their eyes out after that loss. So I know everyone that was on that team last year doesn't want to feel that same pain this season, especially Spencer in his senior season. So hopefully, the sky's the limit for us this year, and hopefully we can make another deep run.
I was there for that game. I was there for a lot of your games. And you're right, baseball, it's that unique kind of balance where you want to have everyone kind of focused and intense, but you also want to be kind of loose and kind of like ready to enjoy the game, kind of, laugh off the error, get ready for the next play. You foul off a pitch, get ready for the next pitch, whatever. And it takes a little kind of a certain mindset for baseball, and there's nothing more important than teammates that support you. And you guys you have a lot of fun. I mean, it's the number one loudest dugout by far in southeastern Massachusetts. There's a thing about a Hawaiian shirt that if you haven't been there, you should go to the games and you'll see the Hawaiian shirt. You guys have a lot of fun when you play. Also, have you been down and seen the new baseball field?
It's beautiful. Coach Praxis, he's done a great job. He really cares about our team and our program. He's been doing it for so long here at Abington High School. So, I don't want to say it didn't look great, but it was in need of a little bit of a rebuild, and Coach Praxis got that all put together, and it's just going to be beautiful for opening day. I think our first game's against Rockland at home, so that should be a fun one. But Coach Praxis, he always does a great job getting us ready for the season now, getting the field ready for the season. So I'm looking forward to the spring season, because nothing beats a Saturday afternoon at the baseball field.
Hey, I don't want to jinx you guys, but Coach Steve Praxis was a center fielder for Abington back in graduated in '81. He's a year ahead of me. And in 2008, 2008, we had to rebuild the varsity baseball field because of some damage that was done to the outfield, and so the field was rebuilt, touched up, and we put in the new dugouts. What happened is they went to the state championship the next year. This year, this past fall, we were able to use some of the Biden administration American Recovery Act to reinvest in our community. So we were able to rebuild the baseball field. It was in desperate need of it. It was dangerous, basically. The lips and the grass, the way it didn't drain. It looks good from high above, but when you're on the field, you had to be careful. In fact, center field was an ankle breaker. There was a couple of places where we had to warn other teams to, be careful if you were a center fielder out there. That's all been fixed. It's all been surveyed, laid out. They did a beautiful job, and it will be ready for this coming spring. So when you see that new baseball field, you can thank the ARPA funds. Also in the mix, you're going to see a new football scoreboard with the ARPA funds. You're going to see a new softball scoreboard. Both of those are intended to arrive sometime this coming summer. We're also trying to do some work on the girls' varsity softball field later this spring. And you've already seen some things around town with ARPA money, the rescue plan money. That was those the speed cameras that flash how fast you're going on Washington Street, on Hancock Street, and several other things. Even the guardrail down Glenowitz Way was ARPA money. So I want to thank Town Administrator Scott Lambiase and also DPW Director John Stone and everyone who's been involved in that. But back to sports, James, back to sports. So baseball, is there a team that you really enjoy or really want to beat more than the other? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
So I think the South Shore League is one of those leagues where I think everyone kind of has their own little rivalry. I mean, the Abington-Rockland rivalry and how much that means to both towns and every level of sports. But I don't want to say any team in particular, but I will say there are certain teams that I think, we circle on our schedule. I'll say the defending league champs from last year, they always have a terrific squad. 2 Tullich brothers, man, those kids can pitch up, down in Middleborough, so they're always tough every year in every
school
sport.
too, so they're hard to knock down.
Exactly, and I mean, those are the types of games we want to play. We want to face the best pitcher. We want to play the best team. You know, we go into a game, we want to face the ace, because you beat the best, that means you are the best. And you know, we don't want to go in and face the 4th pitcher and feel good about ourselves. You know, we go in there, we face the best pitcher, face the best hitters. You know, we're proud of ourselves. You know, if we lose, so what? But we'd rather face the best competition there is. And the South Shore Leagues, you know, no game's easy, right? Even, you know, whoever finished in last place last year, I'm not sure who, you know, they're come. And like you said, we've had so many successful seasons in the past few years where, similar to the basketball team, we're going to be that team that kind of has everyone circles us on their schedule, and we're going to get the top pitcher, but that's how we like it.
Right, and you got a relatively young baseball team. So, whatever amount of playing time you get this year, you and a lot of your classmates are going to have that one extra year or one additional year as a senior to play, which, you know, coaches love that when you get a team out there with experience and not just a lot of freshmen or sophomores filling gaps. But you guys really have a great mix of guys that have already played a full season or pitched a half a season or whatnot. You got, Henry Rogers going to be out there in the mound. And you mentioned yourself, obviously, out there, your brother, John Sellen, the lefty, who had a great game in the state championship game. He was outstanding. Really looking forward to seeing him pitch this year. And then you got a couple of great outfielders and infielders, some new guys stepping into positions too. It's going to be real interesting to watch this team come together.
Yeah, like you said, we have a very young, lineup compared to the past few years. 2 years ago, we had Brady Cristoforo, Aaron Siegel, two great, John Polito as well, and Matt McGuire, who came in, was big for us his senior year. So we had four, senior starters as well as last year. We already talked about those seniors, how much they meant to us and how much they mentored us to get ready for the next 2 years of our high school career. And there's going to be a bunch of kids who haven't played as big of a role as they're going to have. I mean, myself, I'm still looking for my first career hit at the varsity level, 0 for 1 in my career.
This could be it this year.
It was a 24-0 kill, and that's why I got in that bat. It was against Charlestown way back in April vacation of last year, but still looking for that. Maybe I might have to keep that ball like they do at the big leagues. But, there's going to be so many different kids that are stepping into big roles, but Coach Praxis, he trusts all of us. And, we trust him to make the right decisions about who's going to play which position, who's going to bat in the lineup. And, it's like Spencer Merrick is our one senior. But, you take him off our team, I don't think we're a 500 ball club because of how much he means to us both on the field and off the field, because he's a terrific leader, a terrific captain, player, and most important, terrific kid. And, what he means to our ball club, what he means to, his hockey team as well is just something that's much bigger than baseball. And like I said, you take him off our club, we're not a 500 team. So.
And I think, Spencer, we talked about him earlier in the show. He's just an outstanding hockey goalie. But for your baseball team, he's an outstanding catcher. He's behind the plate. And I'm sure your brother, Stephen, would be able to also say this, that if you're a pitcher on the mound and you've got a catcher who can block almost anything, kind of gives you a little more confidence that you can either throw a little harder or try a little bit, throw in that curveball, put a little extra oomph on it, because if it just doesn't come out of your hand the right way, Spencer's going to be there to stop it. And that's a huge sense and a huge defensive benefit for you guys, but that also just kind of keeps you in every inning when you got a guy like that behind the plate who can also throw out runners at will.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can ask any pitcher at any level. If you have a good catcher, it just makes it so much easier to pitch because you're not worried about, you throw a curveball, you spike a curveball, your fastball gets away from you. Spencer's going to stop it. And, every pitcher, you're not going to be on your A game all the time. You're going to miss pitches. You're going to throw one into the ground. But having Spencer behind the plate just makes it so much easier, and it takes away more of a mental side of pitching because, if I'll tell you what, just from experience, if you think too much on the mound, it's not going to be a fun afternoon for you. So I think he makes it so much easier for the pitchers, so makes it so they don't have to think about pitching and they just can fire the balls, because baseball is such a game where it's similar to golf. If you think about it too much, you're not going to have a successful afternoon. So Spencer just makes it so much easier for every pitcher. And I'm sure if you ask any pitcher on our staff, they'll tell you the same thing. Spencer is just so important to us, and I can't imagine trading him for anybody. So I'm thankful to have him on our team.
No doubt about it. And he's the guy I'll predict right now is going to be on your Instagram account when he's in college, playing sports, kind of checking back with you because he's got some sort of collegiate future in front of him as a baseball, hockey player. Probably baseball, I think, is where he's going. But he could do either one and succeed. As you. Now, one more time for our viewers at home, your Instagram or your Twitter accounts, how can they hook onto you and follow you?
So my Twitter is jmadden1632 on Twitter. I don't have a big following on Twitter, so it's just I'm kind of small, but I'm trying to build up the follows. You know, it takes a while. And then on Instagram, NCAAB Top 25. That's where I'd say I'm more active on Twitter. I think Twitter's where you get most of your news and then just relay it over to Instagram. So those are my two social medias.
So NCAAB for basketball.
Yes.
25?
Top 25.
Sorry, top 25. NCAAB top 25.
Top 25, I cover all the teams on the top 25. Teams that bounce in and out, post their final scores and whatever. So yeah, that's what the top 25 means.
So this is the face and the brains and the personality behind all that. And we have him for one more year at Abington High School after this junior year. So I want to thank you for really entertaining all of your classmates, kind of keeping them and kind of bringing them into the sports world at Abington High School and beyond, really, who follows. The work that you do doing the commentary for the games here, I mean, your classmates really appreciate that. And I just wish you the best of luck. I'm looking forward to watching you out there on the field also during the baseball season. But we got a little more basketball to finish, a little hockey to finish.
Yep.
Really hope that we'll be checking in on you and have you back in maybe with one of your teammates a little later in the season. We'll do another episode of The Buzz. How's that?
That sounds like a plan to me. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was really fun.
Great to have you. And make sure you tune into the Madden Report, too, on abingtoncam.com. You can go onto the website on YouTube at abingtoncam02351 and check out some of the replays. You can just call it up and watch some of the episodes where James Madden and Bud Madden talk about everything there is to do about sports. And as you approach March Madness, again, I would suggest highly that you tune in and get a couple of tips from the doctor himself. That's going to wrap it up today for the Buzz. My name is Shawn Reilly. I want to thank the guys in the booth that are helping us out, Ian and Kevin, and everyone for tuning in. If you got some ideas or things you want to know or hear about more at Green Wave Nation here, let us know. Talk to some of the guys at Cable TV, or better yet, talk to James Madden. He'll get it done for us. Good to see you, and I hope to see you in all of the bleachers and on the fields at Abington High School supporting the Green Wave. Thanks again for tuning in.